So the Galaxy S22 Ultra brings back support for fast charging at nearly double the speeds of the previous S21 Ultra, which is 45 watts versus 25 watts. But does this actually make a difference in real life? Hey guys, Vic with Phone Arena here with another S22 Ultra video, and this time we will compare the 45 watt Samsung fast charger against the 25 watt charger also by Samsung that has been the recommended one for last year's S21 Ultra. And the first thing that we want to show you is that indeed, even if you plug in the older S21 Ultra to the 45 watt charger, it's the software that only limits it to 25 watt speeds, while with the Galaxy S22 Ultra, our trusty little power meter here shows a charge that reaches about 40 watts, so you indeed get faster speeds. So unfortunately, if you have this faster charger, it won't make a difference for the older S21 Ultra, it will only work with the new S22 Ultra. Anyway, we'll speak more about some extremely interesting details around charging later in the video, but first let's see the test. So on one side here we have the Galaxy S22 Ultra charging with the new 45 watt charger, and on the other side we again have the S22 Ultra, but this time plugged into a 25 watt charger. Both phones are completely drained, as you can see, and we have to wait a couple of minutes so they get at least some charge before we turn them on. Now we will not be using them during the test, but we do keep them turned on. So the first check we do is after 5 minutes of charging, and we can already see the 45 watt charger deliver 9% charge versus 7% on the 25 watt charger, so it pulls ahead from the very beginning with a tiny difference of 2%. We keep on checking periodically to see, and our next checkpoint is at exactly 10 minutes since the beginning of the test, and we now see 21% on the 45 watt charger versus 17% on the 25 watt charger, so the difference between the two is now a bit bigger at 4%. Next up, 15 minutes into the test, we do a quick checkup again, and we've got 32% on the 45 watt charger versus 27% on the 25 watt charger, so a 5% difference here, and this gap keeps on growing with time, just as you'd expect. And 20 minutes into the test, we have the following numbers: 44% with the 45 watt charger and 36% on the 25 watt charger, which is now a very noticeable 8% difference in favor of the faster charger, of course. Now we will sum up the results in a chart a bit later, but let's skip to our next checkpoint at 30 minutes into the test, where we see 66% on the 45 watt charger and 55% on the 25 watt charger. And that is the biggest delta so far at 11% between these two, and this is the reason why you might want this charger. If you quickly top up your phone during the day, it will do that just a bit faster. Alright, it's now been 45 minutes of charging, and we've got 88% on the 45 watt charger and 80% on the 25 watt charger. So that's interesting. The difference between the two is starting to diminish. It was 11%. So clearly this means that likely at the around 80% mark, the 45 watt charger hits a speed limit, which allows the 25 watt charger to start closing the gap. So for our next checkup, both phones are nearly charged, and at 1 hour into the test, the 25 watt charger has provided 93% charge. We have to wait until we reach exactly 1 hour and 2 minutes when the 45 watt charger has completely charged the S22 Ultra. So we flip it over, and finally it takes just a few minutes more, and the 25 watt charger takes exactly 1 hour and 10 minutes to also finish charging fully, which is only 8 minutes more than the 45 watt charger. So let us quickly recap what we saw in this test in a chart. First 5 minutes into the test, there was a very slight advantage if you use the 45 watt charger, but that kept growing, and at 10 minutes, 15 minutes and 20 minutes the gap was growing bigger. It maxed out at about 30 minutes into the test, where the 45 watt charger provided 66% top up versus 55 on the 25 watt charger, an 11% difference. Now interestingly, after that the difference started to diminish as the 45 watt charger obviously soon hit a speed limit, so finally we had just an 8-minute difference for a full top up between these two chargers. Also keep in mind that every time we run this test we get slightly different results, maybe off by a few minutes for each charger, but they're roughly along these lines. So based on our test, the actual benefit of having 45 watt charging seems to be, well, quite negligible, to be honest. Now keep in mind that this charger costs nearly double the 25-watt charger and is one large brick compared to the fairly compact 25-watt charger. Also, don't forget that you need to use the 45-watt charger with a thicker 5-amp cable that comes with it, otherwise you won't get those faster charging speeds. And also remember, in the beginning of the video we told you about a few interesting details around charging. Well, let us rewind back to what happens when your phone is dead and you need to charge it up, to start to charge it up from 0% battery. So we hook up the S22 Ultra to our trusty power meter and you can see that the speeds quickly ramp up to 40 watts, but never actually reach the promised 45 watts, so it actually seems that 40 watts is a more correct way of describing the maximum supported charging speed on the S22 Ultra. Next up, we quickly switch to a 25-watt charger and you can see that it delivers the full 25 watts just as it should. But the curious detail is that you only get these speeds if you don't use your phone while charging. However, the moment you start actually using your phone, you'll see that those 40-watt charging speeds quickly drop to much lower levels, and we measured that the phone only gets around 8 to 9 watt speeds when you use it, and naturally it will take a lot longer to fully charge while you are using it. And not all phones do that. For example, OnePlus uses a fast charging technology that consistently delivers high charging speeds even while you use the phone. Now, we also tested another phone, the Google Pixel 6 Pro, and it also behaved much like a Samsung phone. By the way, Google says the Pixel 6 Pro supports 30-watt charging and Google itself sells a 30-watt charger. But did you know that when you actually measure it, the real speeds are much lower at only 22 watts, which is quite the disconnect. That's one interesting fact, but with the Pixel, much like on the Galaxy, once you start using the phone, charging speeds also drop to around 8 to 9 watts, much lower than the maximum speed. And if you run something more intense, even after you lock the phone, it takes a few minutes for the phone to cool off until it reaches back those maximum speeds. And what was even worse with the 45-watt charger on the S22 Ultra is that when you reach around 25% charge on your phone, we measured charging speeds again and they dropped even further to only around 29 watts. There is no warning on the screen about that. It still says super fast charging 2.0 and you need to have a specialized power meter like we do here to catch this behavior. At the same time, the 25-watt charger did not suffer from such a limit and maintained its maximum 25-watt output at the same time. So that definitely is not the fast charging revolution we were hoping from Samsung. But anyway, these are the charging numbers that we got. What do you think about them? Now, is it worth getting this 45-watt charger anyway? It does provide slightly faster speeds for quick top-ups. And why do you think that in general Samsung, Apple and Google don't implement the super fast charging technologies that we see on phones like OnePlus and Xiaomi that can fully top up in less than 30 minutes? Now, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, but that's it for this video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you liked it, subs to see more. My name is Vic, this is Phone Arena, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.